We often move through life reacting to the world around us, chasing goals, meeting expectations, pleasing others, without ever truly stopping to ask ourselves the most important question: why am I doing this? In a society that praises productivity and speed, we've lost touch with purpose. We confuse movement with progress and achievement with fulfillment. But none of those things bring lasting meaning if they aren't rooted in something deeper. Purpose isn't just a goal or a milestone. It's the foundation that gives your life direction. It's what turns effort into impact and discipline into devotion. Purpose creates alignment. It becomes the lens through which you evaluate relationships, opportunities, and even the battles worth fighting. Without it, everything feels personal. Criticism feels like rejection. Distance feels like abandonment. But when you're grounded in why you're doing what you're doing, you start to understand that not every loss is a defeat. Some are necessary transitions. Some doors are meant to close. Some people are meant to walk away. And when they do, you don't break, you recalibrate. The power of knowing your why is that it keeps you steady when life gets messy. It doesn't prevent the storm, but it gives you an anchor when the waves hit. When you're clear on your purpose, other people's opinions lose their grip on you. Their doubt doesn't shake you. Their absence doesn't derail you. You begin to move from a place of strength, not scarcity, from clarity, not confusion. And most importantly, you stop needing everyone to come with you. All right? So you realize that your journey doesn't require a crowd, only commitment. We often think we need more support, more followers, more validation to go after what we want, but what we really need is more clarity. We need to be honest enough to admit what matters most to us and courageous enough to protect it. Purpose gives you the strength to walk away from people who don't align with your values. It gives you permission to release those who don't understand your vision. And that's not bitterness, that's maturity. That's self-respect. So if you're feeling lost, overwhelmed, or pulled in too many directions, don't start by asking what to do next. Start by asking why you're doing it in the first place. That one question can change the entire trajectory of your life. It won't give you all the answers, but it will give you the right questions to ask. And in the end, knowing your why isn't about having it all figured out. It's about having something real enough to follow, even when the path isn't clear. Because when the purpose is strong, the process becomes worth it, every time. There's a quiet pain in realizing that some people you care about deeply are not meant to stay in your life forever. It's not always loud, it's not always dramatic. Sometimes it comes quietly, like a shift in energy, a slow unraveling, a moment when you look at someone and realize the connection is no longer what it used to be. We don't talk enough about the heartbreak of outgrowing people, the way it aches, even when there's no conflict, no betrayal, no clear reason. Just change, just evolution. And while we often chase closure, what we really need is acceptance. People come into your life with different roles to play. Some are teachers, some are companions, some are mirrors showing you parts of yourself you needed to see, and some are lessons wrapped in warmth. They serve their purpose, sometimes without even realizing it, and then the season ends. But because we are wired for connection, we hold on longer than we should. We romanticize memories, we cling to potential. We convince ourselves that letting go is equivalent to giving up, but it's not. Letting go is often the bravest, most honest thing we can do for ourselves and for them. We grow, we change, we evolve, and the people around us do too, but not always in the same direction. That's not a betrayal, that's nature. The friendships that once made sense, the relationships that once felt unbreakable, they might not fit into your new rhythm. And that doesn't mean they were fake or meaningless. It means they were real enough to be right for who you were then. But you are not who you were then. And it's unfair to ask your future self to live in a story that belongs to your past. We spend so much time trying to make relationships last, when the truth is longevity is not the measure of love. Alignment is. Growth is. Respect is. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is release someone with grace instead of dragging them through a version of life they no longer belong to. You're not abandoning them. You're honoring them by acknowledging that the chapter you shared was beautiful, but the story's moved on. It's possible to cherish the memory while walking away from the present. Love doesn't always mean holding on. Sometimes it means letting. Yeah, and I think so there's freedom in understanding that not every goodbye is a loss. Some are redirections. Some are upgrades. Some are invitations to create space for the people who are aligned with where you're going, not just where you've been. When you stop forcing connections, you make room for authentic ones. When you stop holding on to people out of guilt or fear, you allow growth to happen. For both of you, because staying in something that no longer feeds your soul doesn't preserve love, it distorts it. And that distortion often leads to resentment, exhaustion, and confusion. And so if you're standing at the edge of a relationship that feels like it's fading, know this: you're not weak for walking away. You're not cold for choosing peace. You're not ungrateful for recognizing that something once good has run its course. You are human, you are evolving, and you deserve relationships that reflect who you're becoming, not just who you used to be. Not everyone is meant to stay, and that's not something to fear, that's something to understand. Because the people who are meant to stay, they won't require you to shrink, pretend, or pause your growth. There's freedom in understanding that not every goodbye is a loss. Some are redirections, some are upgrades. Some are invitations to create space for the people who are aligned with where you're going, not just where you've been. When you stop forcing connections, you make room for authentic ones. When you stop holding on to people out of guilt or fear, you allow growth to happen for both of you. Because staying in something that no longer feeds your soul doesn't preserve love. It distorts it. So if you're standing at the edge of a relationship that feels like it's fading, know this: you're not weak for walking away. You're not cold for choosing peace. You're not ungrateful for recognizing that something once good has run its course. You are human, you are evolving, and you deserve relationships that reflect who you're becoming, not just who you used to be. Not everyone is meant to stay, and that's not something to fear, that's something to understand. Because the people who are meant to stay, we live in a culture that glorifies selflessness to the point of self-destruction. We are praised for being always available, always saying yes, always putting others first, until we break. Until we reach the edge of our emotional capacity and realize that somewhere along the way, we lost ourselves trying to be everything for everyone. The phrase, "you can't pour from an empty cup," sounds simple, even cliche, but it holds a truth we often ignore. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot continue showing up for others if you've forgotten how to show up for yourself. There is a quiet kind of burnout that doesn't come with dramatic symptoms. It doesn't always look like a breakdown. Sometimes it looks like numbness, like indifference, like dragging yourself through routines that once brought joy. It shows up as exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, and a heaviness that no one else seems to notice. And when people continue to lean on you, unaware of the weight you're carrying, the pressure mounts. You tell yourself to keep going, to be strong, to not let anyone down, but strength without restoration is just endurance. Taking care of yourself is not a detour from your responsibilities. It's the foundation that makes all other responsibilities sustainable. You cannot be the friend, the partner, the leader, or the parent you want to be if you're constantly running on empty. You can give more to others when you are full, when you are grounded, when your own needs have been seen and met. And yet, self-care is so often misinterpreted as selfishness. That misunderstanding keeps people locked in cycles of guilt, constantly trying to earn their worth through service. When you prioritize your own needs, you set a standard for yourself and for others. You teach people how to treat you. You show them that boundaries are not barriers but bridges to healthier relationships. When you rest, when you say no, when you unplug, you are not stepping away from others, you are stepping back into alignment with yourself. And in that space, you become more available, more present, and more powerful. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're coming from a place of wholeness instead of depletion. You don't need to prove your love through exhaustion. You don't need to sacrifice your mental health to be seen as loyal. The people who truly care about you will not only understand your need to recharge, they'll respect it, they'll support it. And if someone can only accept you when you're overextending yourself, that's not love, that's convenience. Real connection requires honesty, and that includes being honest about when you have nothing left to give. Saying, "I need time for me," should not be met with disappointment. The truth is, taking care of yourself isn't optional if you want to live with purpose and longevity. It is essential. Just like a tree must take in sunlight and water before it can grow strong enough to provide shade, you must nourish your own life before trying to be a shelter for others. So fill your cup, not because others need you, but because you need you. And when you are full, when you are well, You won't just give to others. You'll overflow into their lives with intention, not obligation. And that's the kind of giving that truly changes the world.